Imagine the lights dimming, not in a modern multiplex, but in a cinema of a world holding its breath. The year is 1937. Tensions are simmering across Europe, and the shadows of a past war feel chillingly close to the dawn of a new one. It is in this precarious moment that a film appears, not as a piece of escapism, but as a profound and desperate plea for humanity. Tonight, we journey back to explore a cinematic masterpiece that has captivated audiences for decades, a film that dares to suggest that the lines we draw on a map are no match for the bonds that connect us as people. Our spotlight falls on La Grande Illusion, or The Grande Illusion, a French war film directed by the legendary Jean Renoir. This isn't a story of glorious battles or clear-cut heroes and villains. Instead, it's a deeply moving examination of the human condition, set against the backdrop of World War I. It's a film that argues the most tragic illusion of all is the belief that nationality, language, or social rank can ever truly separate us. Its genius lies not in what it shows of war, but in what it reveals about the people caught within it. So, let us pull back the curtain on this timeless gem and discover why its message resonates just as powerfully today as it did on the eve of global conflict. The story begins high above the clouds, where two French aviators, the working-class mechanic Lieutenant Maréchal and the aristocratic Captain de Boëldieu, are shot down during a reconnaissance mission. Their captor is the equally aristocratic German flying ace Captain von Rauffenstein. In their very first encounter, the film establishes its central theme. Von Rauffenstein treats his prisoners not as enemies, but as fellow officers, fellow aristocrats, inviting them to lunch before they are sent to a prisoner of war camp. Here, the camaraderie of a shared social class momentarily eclipses the animosity of war.
Maréchal and de Boëldieu are moved through a series of camps where they join a vibrant community of French prisoners. Among them is Lieutenant Rosenthal, a wealthy Jewish man who generously shares the lavish food parcels he receives from his family, offering a taste of comfort and normalcy amidst the bleakness of confinement. The prisoners spend their days digging an escape tunnel, their shared goal forging a powerful bond of solidarity. But just as their tunnel is complete, they are all transferred to a new location, their hopes dashed. Their final destination is the inescapable mountain fortress of Wintersborn, a prison for the most incorrigible Allied officers. And who should be its commandant but a now grounded and severely injured von Rauffenstein? He greets his old acquaintance de Boëldieu with a mixture of professional duty and genuine warmth. The two men, relics of a dying European aristocracy, find they have more in common with each other, their enemy, than with the common soldiers under their own commands. They discuss horses, women, and the codes of a world that is vanishing around them, forming a connection that is both poignant and tragic. Yet the duty to escape remains. A new plan is hatched, one that relies on the ultimate sacrifice. De Boëldieu, understanding that his world and his code of honor are obsolete, agrees to create a diversion so that Maréchal and Rosenthal can escape. He plays a flute on the castle ramparts, drawing the attention of the German guards. Von Rauffenstein, heartbroken, pleads with him to surrender. When de Boëldieu refuses, von Rauffenstein is forced by duty to shoot him. He aims for the legs, but tragically hits him in the stomach. In the film's most devastating scene, the German captain mourns at the bedside of the dying French captain, lamenting that the true tragedy of the war is that it forced him to kill the one man with whom he shared a genuine connection.
The grand illusion of their shared class was shattered by the brutal reality of their imposed national conflict. Meanwhile, Maréchal and Rosenthal successfully escape into the German countryside, beginning a perilous journey toward the Swiss border and a fragile hope for freedom. The soul of the Grande Illusion resides in its unforgettable characters, who are far more than simple archetypes of war. They are living, breathing representations of a society in flux. At the heart of the story is Lieutenant Maréchal, played with a rugged, earthy charm by the great Jean Gabin. Maréchal is the everyman, a Parisian mechanic who sees the world in practical, straightforward terms. He doesn't understand the complex etiquette and unspoken rules of the aristocracy. For him, a German is a German, an enemy to be outsmarted. Yet, through his journey, his perspective softens. His bond with Rosenthal transcends class and religion, and his final moments of sanctuary with a German widow show him that humanity and compassion exist on both sides of the conflict. He represents the future, a world where common decency matters more than noble birth. In stark contrast is Captain de Boëldieu, portrayed with refined elegance by Pierre Fresnay. He is a man of impeccable manners, a career officer from a long line of military nobility. He is a walking embodiment of the old European order. His relationship with the German commander von Rauffstein is one of the most compelling in cinema history. They are enemies by uniform, but brothers in spirit, sharing a language of honor and tradition that their own subordinates cannot comprehend. De Boëldieu's ultimate sacrifice is not just a strategic diversion, it is a conscious act of self-erasure. He recognizes that men like him have no place in the dawning modern world, and he gracefully steps aside to allow men like Maréchal, the future, to escape. And then there is Captain von Rauffstein, brought to life by the formidable Erich von Stroheim. Encased in a neck brace and leather corset from his war injuries, he is a man physically and spiritually trapped by his duty. He is a patriot, but he feels a deeper loyalty to his aristocratic code. He despises the ugliness of modern warfare and clings to the rituals of a more civilized past. Von Stroheim's performance is a masterclass in subtlety. With a slight gesture or a weary glance, he conveys a profound sense of loneliness and disillusionment. He is a jailer who is just as much a prisoner as the men he guards, a prisoner of a fading era. These three men form a powerful triangle, exploring the intricate and often contradictory loyalties of class, nation, and personal integrity. Beyond the powerful story and characters, The Grande Illusion is surrounded by a history as dramatic as the film itself. Here are 5 fascinating facts that deepen our appreciation for this cinematic landmark. First, the film's potent anti-war message was considered so dangerous that it was officially banned by the Nazi regime. Joseph Goebbels, Hitler's propaganda minister, famously declared it cinematic public enemy number 1 and ordered that every single print of the film be confiscated and destroyed. He understood that a film promoting shared humanity across enemy lines was a direct threat to his ideology of hate and division. This condemnation, ironically, is perhaps the highest praise the film could ever receive. Second, the film's authenticity stems directly from the director's own life. Jean Renoir was not just an observer of war, he was a participant. He served as a reconnaissance pilot in the French Air Force during World War I, just like his characters Maréchal and de Boëldieu. In fact, Renoir was shot down and carried a leg injury for the rest of his life. He poured his own experiences, his memories of camaraderie, and his deep-seated disillusionment with conflict into every frame of the film, giving it a raw, personal truth that no second-hand account could ever achieve. Third, The Grande Illusion shattered a significant cultural barrier in Hollywood. In a time when international cinema was largely ignored by the American film industry, it became the very first foreign-language film ever to be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture. This groundbreaking nomination signaled a new respect for global filmmaking and paved the way for countless international masterpieces to be recognized on the world's biggest stage. It proved that a powerful story needs no translation. Fourth, the survival of the film is nothing short of a miracle. After the Nazis seized the original negative from Paris in 1942, it was long believed to have been destroyed in an Allied air raid. For decades, the world thought the definitive version of Renoir's masterpiece was lost forever. But the truth was even more incredible. The negative had been shipped to Berlin, then captured by the Red Army in 1945, and moved to a film archive in Moscow, where it sat, mislabeled, and forgotten for over 20 years. Its rediscovery in the 1960s was a monumental event in film history, allowing for the restoration of the film to its original breathtaking glory. And fifth, the iconic character of von Rauffenstein owes much of his unforgettable presence to the actor who played him. Erich von Stroheim, a notoriously meticulous and often demanding artist, heavily influenced his character's creation. It was von Stroheim's idea to give von Rauffenstein the neck brace and the pristine white gloves, physical details that perfectly symbolized his rigid, aristocratic nature and his alienation from the messy reality of the world. He insisted on performing his lines in German, adding a layer of authenticity that Renoir had not initially planned, forever cementing the character as one of cinema's most complex and memorable antagonists. The legacy of the Grande Illusion is immeasurable. It is more than just a great film. It is a profound statement on the futility of war and the enduring power of human connection. Its influence can be seen in virtually every anti-war film that followed. By focusing on the quiet moments between battles, a shared meal, a song, a conversation between enemies, Renoir redefined the war genre. He showed that a story about prisoners of war could be a universal story about humanity itself. Orson Welles, the director of Citizen Kane, famously said that if he could only save one film for posterity, it would be The Grande Illusion. Decades after its release, its central message remains tragically relevant. The film argues that the real borders are not between nations, but between social classes, between the powerful who orchestrate conflicts and the ordinary people who are forced to fight them. It is a timeless reminder that our common humanity is a far more powerful force than any flag or uniform. It didn't just capture the spirit of its time, it transcends time, continuing to challenge and inspire audiences to look beyond the illusions that divide us. And now, it's your turn to join the conversation. We've journeyed through this powerful story, met its complex characters, and uncovered the incredible history behind its creation. We want to know what resonated most with you. Were you drawn to a particular character? Perhaps the pragmatic and hopeful Maréchal, who represents the resilient spirit of the common man. Or maybe the honorable and tragic Boëldieu, a man who sacrifices himself for a future he knows he cannot be a part of. Or was it the duty-bound von Rauffenstein, an enemy you can't help but sympathize with? On the other hand, maybe one of the facts we shared caught your attention. Were you stunned to learn that the film was declared public enemy #1 by the Nazis? Or were you captivated by the near miraculous story of how the original film negative was lost and found again? These details are what makes cinema history so rich and fascinating. Head down to the comments section and let us know. Which character or which fact stood out to you the most? We can't wait to read your thoughts and continue the discussion about this unforgettable cinematic masterpiece.